Welcome back to the channel. This is Roberto Full Curl Precision again. Again, check out that hat. For those who haven't seen it before, yeah, I did an update. We also have the shirts going. We are going to be updating some pictures on the website. But for tonight, I'm going to be focused on a little subject on optimal powders for your cartridge. And because obviously anyone who's been watching me knows 270 is one of my favorite, I'm going to be going through some variations, but I cover the types of powders that are really good for your cartridge for the 270 through the weight ranges, but also in particular that are fairly common and affordable to get. That we're not talking about trying to dig up some miracle powder that's no longer available. And yeah, I'm talking about Alliance because while they're really good, it's not easy for people to get, and so since they are so difficult and expensive, I'm not going to even entertain them as part of this list. I'm not saying that they're not good, again, but my whole thing is if I'm going to bring up a powder, it should be something that people can actually get a hold of and afford to use. And so for that reason, I kind of have a list, and we're going to go over that. Let me turn the camera around, and we're going to start. So while everyone has their preferences, there's some things that I've found as a general pattern. One is the tried and true H4350. I've had great success with this with my own rifle. It shoots really tight groups. Killed several deer with it this past season. And my first elk. And I used the 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range. Out of my rifle with the 54 grains of powder, I was pushing 2950 feet per second, which is really good. And I can't complain with that. And my barrel is 24 inches. One I'm planning on trying to utilize, because according to all the reloading data I could find, this stuff is pretty phenomenal. Ramshot Hunter. I didn't spend a lot for this pound of powder either. H1000 is, while good, is a little too slow. It's really meant for magnums, and see, they kind of list that. There you go. You kind of see that they're zoom in. There you go. Like 7 Rem Mag, 7mm STW, so on and so forth. This is a little too slow for that. One that I am going to try a little bit, and I don't know if it's optimal or not, is this H4831SC. It lists the 270 on here, but we'll see how it is in comparison to H4350 and Ramshot Hunter. But when we go onto the computer, let me zoom back. One that I definitely want to try, because I've been hearing a lot of good things about it, is this Vitavori N550. Now, the best part about this program, this is a Gordon's reloading tool. It is free on computer. I don't know if I don't think it's available on smart devices, but on computer it is. So it is free. It is comprehensive. So like over here, you have the max of that, but you can adjust this, right? So the newest update is 65,000 PSI for 270. And I have a 24-inch barrel, so I'm doing it based upon mine. And for bullet selection, this wasn't in here initially. So check this out. When I select this, if I go down, it gives GRT database. So these are the bullets that were already in there. And then there's the bullets that I've inserted. So here we are. Here's a Burger that wasn't in there, so I put that in. The Federal Terminal Ascent wasn't in there either, so I put it in. 2 Noslers, 165 grain Nosler AccuBond long range and 170 grain Nosler ballistic tip. And the Sierras, the Game Changers, 140 and 175. And so right now I have selected is the 140 grain. I'm going to try to build a load for this so I can go black bear hunting in the spring this year. And I'm going to be trying some Ramshot Hunter because I already have it. But, you know, here's the thing you're always looking for. So for one, I'm at a 90% fill rate. So the load ratio, that's your fill rate. And then you got your burn propellant, that of 100%. So it's doing really good. With this load right here of 56.2 grains, 3055 feet per second. 3,055 feet per second is what this is saying it gets. That's really good. That's a really good flat shooting load. I'm happy with that. I'm going to try to see what I can do. But here's where it gets interesting. So that's there, and then I can select this, and I can adjust it. So that dotted line right up there at the top in the red is your max pressure. So if I adjust this a little bit, go from 56.2 to 57, I get a little closer. You see the highlighted line right there. That's where it lets you know you're max out. According to this, with the N550, you can push it nearly 3,100 feet per second. That's a really, really good velocity. And that's just one powder. And here's the thing. The Vita Voris aren't really all that expensive. They're fairly common. They're getting more common. So that's something I really like and look forward to trying. So if I change that out and say I go to an N, let's see, you're going to go to the Vita Vori N555. So this is a little bit on the slower side, but you can expand it a little bit. And the other thing is my cartridge length. So that's everything combined. My rifle seats out a little bit further, so that's what I'm going with. So if I try N555, let's see what I can do. Let's go to 62. It's a little too high. Let's go to 60.5. Still not quite low enough. Let's go to straight 60. And we're going to go to 59.5. Okay, make that 59.8. So, okay, again, right around the similar pressure point of 63,000. Look at that velocity. Just right in there of 3073. It's 3072.8, but I'll round that up to 3073. Still, you're approaching that 3,100 foot per second mark. That's really good. That's going to create a very flat shooting projectile, especially as long as you're staying within 500 yards. The BC on this bullet here, right there you go. So your G1 of 0.508 and your G7 of 0.224. For hunting inside 500 yards, you don't need much more than that. That's going to shoot straight. It's going to reach 500 yards before the bullet has much of a chance to drift. So, that's actually a phenomenal option there. And then, so that's a really good powder. If we go down, Vita Voris makes a lot of good powders. So you got like the N150. That's a little fast, but we're going to peel it back to 55 grains. Make that 54. So while it isn't as optimal as the N550 or N555, it's still getting you a pretty good velocity there. That of 2989. So you're still getting a good velocity, but really, that's not really optimal for what we're looking to do. Especially when you can get another 50 to 75 or almost 100 feet per second faster. This is why I really advocate for this program. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to get these exact numbers. But you can toy with this and get some ideas of what to expect. And so it allows you to build where a lot of other data fails. And this is really good at, being able to find out your load ratios and your burn propellant. That is really why I like this. It's really effective. And then it allows you to go through a whole plethora of different powders. So for instance, here we go. Like, let's say you want to go to IMR. Well, you got IMR 4350. That's another really good powder. So if we play with that, and we're going to bring that up to, let's say, no, we'll go quite 60. Let's say we're going to go 58. So even with that, yeah, you're still pushing it in that 63,000 psi range. You got 37 feet per second. So depending on what you have as far as powder, for the most part, if you have a good selection of powders, you can drive your bullets a little bit better with some really good velocities. Now, if I try, let's say, now while this is a little bit different powder than, just because it's shortcut, but the burn rate on this is going to be the same as if I went with the H4831. And so here's where it gets kind of interesting, trying to balance it out. Is you start trying to not overload your case. So let's try this. Let's try with 61. Let's try with 62. And here's where it gets, okay, let's try with 62.5. So here's where it kind of gets interesting. Because, yeah, okay, all right. With 62.5 grains of the 4831, I'm getting 3,051 feet per second. But look at your load ratio and your burn propellant. You're getting 102.5%. So you're loading up into the neck. And then your burn propellant is only 92.4%, which means you're getting inconsistent burns. It means your groups are never as tight. So you'd either have to have one or two options. You either have to go to like a 26-inch barrel, and even then, you're not getting a 100% burn propellant because of how heavy it is. I mean, it got you some more velocity, but it's not really ideal. I mean, for this powder, let's see what you'd have to do. Let's see if we go to 28. Well, still not enough. Let's go to a 30. So your burn propellant is increasing. I mean, look at that. If you went to a 30-inch barrel, you can push a 140 grain bullet 24 feet per second potentially. That's really cool. But again, who wants to hunt with a 30-inch barrel? I don't. So that's not really ideal. So this leaves you two options. So let's say go back down to the 24. What weight bullet would you have to use in order to be ideal with this powder? Well, then you have to switch it up. Let's say we're going to go slightly heavier. So I'm going to go to the user database. We're going to go to the Nosler 165. And so here we go. So it did increase the load ratio a little bit. But here we go. Out of a 24-inch barrel, you're getting 100% burn rate because that heavier bullet takes a little longer to get out of the barrel. So if we change this up and we're going to peel this back, we're going to go to 61. Okay, not enough. Let's go to 59. We're going to go 59.2. So here we go. You got a load ratio of 100.1, so you're right at max, still only getting a burn propellant of 97.6%. I mean, that's not a terrible velocity. 2847, so right around 2850 feet per second with a 165 grain bullet. But again, what are you really going to go with that? No, the idea is that's not an optimal option for you. So in order to optimize that, again, let's say go to a 26. What's that do? There you go. That's a little closer. right? 99.2, and you're over 2,900 feet per second. So let's change it up one more time. We're going to go to a 28-inch barrel. There we go. 100% burn propellant. 29.58. But again, who really wants to hunt with a 28-inch barrel? I don't. So for this exact application, this powder is really not optimal. It's a little too slow. We're going to go back to a 24. So for your typical weights, it is going to be better to not be going with something like that. So even this, let's say you're going to go with a 165 grain. We're going to change this up, and we're going to go with the IMR 7828 SSC. So we're not quite full, but we're identical numbers on the load ratio and burn propellant out of a 24-inch barrel with a 165 grain bullet. Let's try this. Let's go to 60.5. Let's just go straight 60. So that's actually really, really good. I mean, you're right at there with the 100% burn propellant. It's not quite, but it's really close. Yeah, out of a 24-inch barrel, you can push this 2918 feet per second. That's excellent. But are there other options? Yes. And we'll show one more. So for this, the one powder that I was looking up earlier, which would be really good for this, is going to be the Vita Vori N565. And we're going to increase the powder volume on this a little bit. We're going to go to 62. 62.5. Nope, 62.2. So, here we go. 24-inch barrel, 165 grain bullet, 103%. So you're still loading basically right into the neck. And mind you, again, this bullet is seated out a little bit further, but you're getting the 100% burn propellant. Look at those numbers. 2940. You're pushing a 165 grain bullet at real close to that of the 6.8 Westerns. Not as fast, but not far off either. And that's actually a really good velocity, and that's a really good hunting bullet. And for you guys who are like, oh, but you want to have a heavier bullet for, let's say, elk, there you go. There's your option right there. Now you'll need like a twist rate of somewhere in the ballpark of 1 and 8.5 or better. But yeah, that's gonna be a very viable option. So there you go. So if you're really looking to get into loading and try to develop for yourself, I highly encourage, download the program. It's free. There's YouTube tutorials on how to do it. It's well worth it. And you'll find out that you can do so much more. No, this does not replace reloading manuals, but it does make it a whole lot better. So that's all I have for tonight. I appreciate the support. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. And yeah, again, I appreciate all the support. And if you're looking for some really cool merch, stuff that's practical and comfortable for everyday use and hunting and such like that, this is it. Really, these shirts are ridiculously comfortable. These hats, really comfortable. And the nice part about it is no snapback. These are stretched to fit. And my other one is a black hat with the orange logo. That's my daily work hat. It's comfortable. I wash it several times. It holds up. Yeah. So if you're looking for some good quality clothing, this is a good option. So that's all I have for tonight. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again.